Hello and welcome to another episode of Eat, Smoke, Drink. Today we are going to review a SMWS Scotch Malt Whisky Society bottling of Benriach. So this is a 12.16 Benriach. The description, the name of it is Moonlight in New York. So Benriach is a Speyside whiskey. Okay, Benriach is a Speyside whiskey owned by the Brown and Foreman Group, who owns Jack Daniel's, Benriach, Herradura, and a few other quite well-known liquor brands actually. So you'll probably see Chambord, I believe, is owned by them as well. So these guys are obviously passionate about whiskey, spirits, and liqueurs and liquor in general. So they decided to invest billions in it. So there you go. So they're a Speyside whiskey. Speyside are generally softer, more floral, sweeter type of whiskies as a general proposition. Okay, that's a general proposition. Of course, there's always exceptions, but this one here is 59.5% at 8 years old. Absolutely massive ABV. So that's 59.5. Anymore, it's probably legally able to sterilize hospital equipment. And it's also from a first fill barrel ex-bourbon as well. Ex-bourbon, first fill barrel. So first fill, second fill, just to give you an insight to that, first fill means they get the barrels, they clean them, they reassemble them, and they fill them, okay? That's just once, that's it. But second fill means that they've already had whiskey in them, and then they've refilled them with more spirit. Why do they do that? Probably two reasons, a few reasons. One, they want to save money, and so they want to reuse a barrel and sell it for cheaper to blenders. Or two, they probably wanted to do that because the barrel itself is getting so much life, and they're thinking, well, actually this barrel has so much life in it, why not use it again? Either or. So depending on how reputable the distillery is how they use the barrel. So if they're a shitty distillery or a bit of a cheap ass, then you know what, you'll get someone refilling barrels who just want to get away with it. But good faith, that's not what they do. Good faith, they do it because they believe the barrel can give more. But this is first fill, and same as usual, we have the water, no water. Let's get nosing. The color is very light, typical of a first fill bourbon. It's a very light whiskey, almost like a golden hue, kind of like, when you've had a lot of water and your pee is very clear. So let's let's get nosing. Very quintessential bourbon barrel. Immediately I get coconut, vanilla, I'm getting a slight creaminess to it. I'm getting overripe pineapple, I'm getting overripe kiwi. Very fruity so far, very fruity, but very sugary as well. Like I'm getting sugar in there, sugar crystals. Slight tannin, not too much. I'm getting a fragrance to it like jasmine flower, honeysuckle, honey. I'm getting a powdery smell like a hint of talcum powder, baby wipe, and a little bit of apricot. I'm getting a little bit of apricot, that dryness of apricot. The apricot, if it's not too ripe, just a little firm, I'm getting that dryness of that apricot nose. Not too sweet, but wow, that's strange. So, with a few drops of water, I'm getting pastry. I'm getting pastry, buttery pastry. That's very interesting. Like it's quite a clear pastry smell. In fact, I would say that I am getting that pastry smell I associate, because I had it last night actually. I went to night markets and I had it last night. And it's that Chinese egg tart, that you get in dim sum. I'm getting that pastry smell. How bizarre is that? But it's still fruity, even with the pastry smell, slight cereal notes, like a bready smell. It's buttery. The fruit's still there. All the fruits that I mentioned are still there. There's not really any spice. Yeah. Very interesting. Let's get tasted. Ooh. That packs a hell of a punch. I think I'm gonna have to get water. That packs a hell of a punch. Ooh. Let me just think about what I'm tasting there. That's fiery. That is fiery. It is not a chilly heat. It is just fiery. The alcohol is definitely present. Let me just have a small sip. That is fiery. I'm not tasting much yet. Let me just take another sip. Okay. Second sip, I'm getting a little bit more. Definitely floral. A lot of floral taste to it. The smell of fruit is not that much in the taste. I'm getting floral, I'm getting flowers, like sickly sweet flowers. I'm getting still the honeysuckle, I'm getting the jasmine, I'm getting ylang-ylang kind of smells. Sandalwood is there. It's a little waxy. The perfume is quite strong, and I'm getting that kind of alcohol from the baby wipe kind of come through like a pleasant fragrance, but with an alcohol sting. It is a beast. This is a beast. It is absolutely massive, massive whiskey. And I'm not tasting too much straight out of the bottle, to be completely frank, except for those things I've mentioned already. Let me just... Let me just rinse my mouth, and let's get to the water sample. From the get-go now, I'll tell you, water sample. It's quite a young whiskey. Without water, it is quite fiery. I'm not tasting any new make spirit, actually. I'm not tasting any new make spirit, but it is quite fiery. With the water, that fieriness subsides immediately. That's only a few drops of water in there as well. That's better. That's better. The fruit's coming back. I'm getting the fruit. I'm getting overripe kiwi. I'm getting a little bit of pine resin in there. I'm getting sandalwood, like a sandalwood oil. Very perfumey. This whiskey is very perfumey. It's like, I mean, I could probably dab it on my neck, you know, and it's like man pheromones. What am I getting in there? I'm getting a spice I can't put my finger on. But maybe that's just the heat from the whiskey, but it's a spice. So I'm not even going to speculate what it is. I can't quite tell what it is, but the pastry taste is not so much anymore. I'm getting a little bit of it, the bready taste, the pastry taste. It's a little bit buttery, but there's a strange perfume that I can't get over, the strange perfume of that baby wipes and the flowers, and it's like, just think essential oils of these flowers of honeysuckle, ylang-ylang, jasmine. You know, actually, it sounds really bizarre, but I don't know what flower it is in English, but in Philippines, where I was born, there is a flower called sampaguita, and the sampaguita flower, I'm getting that. I just remember it when I was little. I'm getting sampaguita in there. I hope that's the right word, sampaguita. Yeah, and so I would say water, because it's such a massive and overpowering whiskey. I'm going to add a couple more drops and see what happens. This is going to be a wild card, but let's see what happens. I mean, it's almost 60%. And the nose tapers off, but wow. That is, I think, a little bit more water than a few drops is actually really good. That really makes a big difference. So my preference for this is a few drops of water straight away, and then progress to a few more drops of water after a few sips. With a few drops more of water, the fruit becomes more accentuated, everything else becomes more pronounced, everything becomes a lot more vivid and clear, because it's an uber powerful whiskey. Complexity, it's not the most complex whiskey, it's relatively narrow, but yeah, I think the alcohol really does cover up a lot of that flavor. So this one here, more water is better than less. Thank you very much for joining me today, and hope you liked my review of the Benriach. If you've got a recommendation for a Benriach I'm going to try, please let me know and I'll see if I can source them. Otherwise, let me know your thoughts on my review if you've got any questions about it. And thank you, Lauren, for letting me use your bottle. So Lauren's part of our whiskey group. And see you again until next time. Please hit subscribe, hit that bell, and see you again.